Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, Indiana football's hopes for a bowl game continue to slip away.
And the volleyball team lost a tough one against Northwestern. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Audrey Hausberger.
And I'm Hank Joseph.
The injuries and transfers have piled up for IU football this year, and it's left the roster looking much different than when the season started. So how would a third-string true freshman quarterback and depleted team fare at Maryland? Well, the results were mixed.
Well, Indiana football was looking for a big win this weekend on the road, taking on the Maryland Terrapins in Maryland. And, well, they didn't get the result they wanted. 38-35, the final score. Another loss for the Hoosiers in Big Ten play. Will Trubshaw and Noah Harrison here out front of Memorial Stadium. And Noah, the second straight week for the Hoosiers, it was the defense kind of letting them down, surprisingly. 498 yards surrendered by the defense, including 419 passing yards given up to Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah, they slowed him down for a little bit in the second and third quarter, but after that, it just all kind of fell to pieces, similar to the way it did last week, and they're going to have to pull it together. Michigan is a must-win game, and the offense needs their defense to step up and play the way that they played the first part of the season.
I think we got to do I have to do a better job of making sure with certain looks we know how to work through the coverage issues no matter who's in the game.
One bright spot, though, we'll talk about some positives here. Donovan McCulley making his first start as a true freshman after Jack Tuttle and Michael Penix no-goes again this week. And he actually looked pretty good. 2 touchdowns, 242 yards passing. And really, as the game went on, he started to get more comfortable. You could really see him starting to really take ownership of that offense. And for Indiana fans, it's an encouraging sign because everything seems to suggest that he's going to be the quarterback for the next couple weeks as well.
He looked like he was getting into the rhythm and getting more comfortable, as you said, as the game went on. Looked completely different from when he was thrown in the game last week. Very encouraging signs and very good showing for him.
He was competitive. He was tough. And those are great qualities to have playing that position. And so he demonstrated the ability to compete, for 4 quarters, for 60 minutes.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Jack Tuttle and Michael Penix are still going to be out for a while with their respective injuries. So it's going to be the Donovan McCulley show for the foreseeable future. And that will include next weekend when Indiana travels up to the Big House, taking on Michigan in Ann Arbor. Michigan coming off a tough loss against Michigan State. So you know they're going to be motivated. 7:30 kickoff for that one, another prime time start for Indiana. We'll have you covered throughout the week. Noah Harrison and Will Trubshaw reporting for IUS TV Sports.
After the Hoosiers and Wolverines wrap up Saturday night, just 3 games remain for Indiana in the regular season. Indiana would need to win out to guarantee a 3rd straight bowl appearance.
The Indiana men's soccer team was in action this past Sunday against the Maryland Terrapins. The Hoosiers had a chance to secure their 4th consecutive Big Ten regular season title with a win, but they fell short. Maryland defeated Indiana 2-0 and ended IU's 7-game shutout win streak. This loss dropped Indiana to the 3rd seed in the upcoming Big Ten tournament. The team will host Rutgers in the quarterfinal round this Sunday at 1 p.m. Be sure to follow along with our men's soccer beat reporter, Ta Lau, who will be bringing you live coverage from the match.
Indiana volleyball had a tough week to wrap up their 4-game homestand. Our beat reporters Josh Bodie and Brianna Baylog have the details.
Indiana volleyball lost to Northwestern by a score of 3-1 tonight. 2 of the lost sets were lopsided in the favor of the Wildcats, and overall, they controlled the game tonight. Coach Aird said that one of the keys for the loss was serving and passing for Indiana in their home gym, and both were lacking for them. Just 1 ace for Indiana compared to 8 for Northwestern.
The big story of the night for me is serve and pass. I thought they had 8 aces tonight. We didn't pass great, and we had 7 service errors, which is too many. And our inability to get the ball to the middle and be a little bit more diverse offensively was kind of the story.
Senior outside hitter Brianna Edwards had a great night tonight, hitting double digits again, and also middle hitters Savannah Coley and Kaylee Randallsberg had a great night up front compared to the opposite hitters who struggled tonight.
I thought our middles had a fantastic match. Sav was good. I thought Kaylee was good. We just couldn't control the ball to get them the ball enough.
Indiana has a fast turnaround to playing Northwestern again, facing them next weekend, in addition to facing Iowa for the first time. Coach Aird said that the serving and the passing needs to be better in order for them to be victorious and avenge their loss away next weekend.
We didn't have a very good night passing and from the end line and serving, so obviously disappointing, but we will keep on keeping on. We've got our first full week where we have a full week to prep before an opponent, and we're on the road again. We'll get to see Northwestern again in a week, and hopefully we can be a little bit better.
The Hoosiers are now 3-9 in conference play and 9-15 overall. The Hoosiers will be on the road for the next 3 games until they're back here in Wilkinson Hall. We've been Brianna Baylog and Josh Bodie for IUS TV Sports.
This weekend, Indiana travels to Iowa and Northwestern, looking to avenge their loss to the Wildcats. Follow along with Josh and Brianna for updates.
Now joining us in studio to crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week is IUS TV sports reporter Garrett Drake. Garrett?
Thanks, Hank. On this week's edition of Hoosier Highlight, we have the scoop on senior tight end Peyton Hendershot. The 6'4" pass catcher from North Salem, Indiana, made history against Maryland last Saturday. Hendershot became Indiana's all-time leader in career receptions and receiving yards by a tight end. In addition, he torched the Terrapins by leading Indiana with 6 catches for 106 yards. Despite the loss, Peyton was able to provide a safety blanket for freshman quarterback Donovan McCulley, who made his first career start. After the game, Coach Tom Allen dubbed Hendershot, quote, one of our best football players, and added, quote, we need to get him the football. Expect the Indiana offense to look his way early on Saturday as the Hoosiers will travel to the Big House to take on the number 7 Michigan Wolverines. That's all for Hoosier Highlight. Back to you, Hank.
Thanks, Garrett. This past weekend, the women's tennis team traveled to Tuscaloosa to take part in the Alabama Classic. IU had 4 women compete: Alexandra Stikulescu, Rose Hugh, Seda Hernandez, and Mila Majic. In singles, Stikulescu won both of her matches, while the other 3 all went 1-1. In doubles, the first pair of Hernandez and Hugh went 0-2, and the second pair of Stikulescu and Majic went 1-2. Next, Laura Masic and Laura Schneider will travel to San Diego to compete at the ITA National Fall Championships.
It was a big day for IU cross country last Friday as both the men's and women's team competed in the Big Ten Championships at Penn State. The men finished in 4th place with a total of 119 points. Arjun Jha was the lead runner for the men and earned all Big Ten first team accolades, finishing the 5.2-mile run in 6th place with a time of 25 minutes and 3 seconds. The women placed 5th with a total of 152 points. Sarah Schmidt came in first for Indiana with a time of 21 minutes and 7 seconds, giving her a 14th place finish. The next race for Indiana will be this Friday when they host the Hoosier Invitational.
Joining us now in studio with the Candy Stripe Calendar Report is IUS TV sports reporter Ta Lau. Ta?
Thanks, Hank and Audrey. I'm Ta Lau, and this is everything you need to know about the upcoming weekend for IU athletics. To start off the weekend, both the men's and women's tennis teams will be on the road. The men's team heads north to East Lansing to compete in the Big Ten Individuals Qualifying Tournament. Meanwhile, the women's trip is a bit further as Laura Masic and Lara Schneider will head to San Diego for the ITA National Fall Championships. Back in Bloomington, the cross-country teams will host the Hoosier Invitational with the 2 races beginning at 3:20 and 4. In Assembly Hall, the women's basketball team will kick off its 2021 campaign as they host U-Indy. Admission is free, so be sure to attend and support the team. Also on Friday, the women's volleyball squad will hope to topple Iowa on their home court. Looking ahead to Saturday, the Hoosier football team will look to stun 9th-ranked Michigan in the Big House at 7:30 in the evening. On Sunday, the men's soccer team will face off against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament at Bill Armstrong Stadium. The wrestling team will commence its season as they travel down to Louisville to compete against SIUE and Bellarmine. The women's rowing team will also gear up for the spring season with a scrimmage against Ohio State. Finally, to round out the weekend action, the women's volleyball team will compete again as they take on Big Ten opponent Northwestern in Evanston. That's all for your candy stripe calendar for the weekend. Good luck, Hoosiers. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Ta, and that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports for all the latest IU sports news. For our production crew behind us, I'm Hank Joseph.
And I'm Audrey Hausberger. We'll see you next week.